Welcome to Living Limitless. This is actually our second season, and this season we are emphasizing and connecting with a conversation, an edgy conversation around our attachment to shame and how looking at our stories that are around shame can support us in reclaiming our courage, our joy, our freedom, and our playfulness. So I'm Andrea Luzon, Legacy Liberator. I support women as they reestablish authority in their life. I guide them on a journey so that they can step back, like move into their life with courage, confidence, passion, power, and purpose. And so today we have with us Kate Furnish, and I would love for you, Kate, first of all, welcome. Please introduce yourself.
Good to be here. It's good to be here. My name is Kate Furnish. I'm a physical therapist. So I work with people, mind, body, spirit, and also an empowerment and mindset coach because I found myself constantly working with people in the same ways, constantly saying the same things about connecting to ourselves and how we move through life. And it's not just our physical movement, but our mental movement and our spiritual movement. And so I really resonate with what you're introducing. And I'm excited to be here to support all of us because we're in the journey together, right? All of us to living empowered lives, really to claiming our own life, because there's so many ways we give it away. And if we can claim our own life with that authority, we start to create the life that we really enjoy and in which we thrive.
Mm-hmm. So as you came forward as a physical therapist and as you have stepped forward on your journey in your life, whether that's spiritual awakening or motherhood or the physical therapy, but have there been some pivotal moments in your life where you had an opportunity to look at some misbeliefs you had about yourself or some fear and then how those might have been based in shame?
Oh my goodness. That's a big question. And as you were asking it, my mind is clicking down the list, you know?
So a
And
multitude.
I think I'm going to share a story with you that would highlight that for me, a period. Because of course there's moments when we see ourselves one way and then when we're going through something, we never have that perspective necessarily that we have when we're looking back, right? Hence the saying, hindsight is 2020,
Right.
right? So I'm going to share a story, and I haven't shared this one before, but I think it's really apropos about shame and how our perspective can change. So I'm going to get kind of edgy and vulnerable with you guys here. So when I was younger, I was 11 or 12, I had a situation where I was in a group setting and we were traveling together. It was a hike, like a 12-mile hike. And so I had hiked in with my parents. And then the day that we were leaving, some of the younger people, the 20-year-olds, were ready to go out before my parents and I were ready to go out. But I wanted to hang out with the 20-year-olds, right? Because that was more exciting than my parents. And I was ready to go. So I said, well, can I go ahead and go with them? And then my parents would catch up along the way. And so we did that, and they started with me, but I was a little slower than they wanted to go. So at some point they left me to just wait for my parents. And so in that situation, I was pretty vulnerable. I was by myself, and someone came to help me that ended up hurting me. And it was a situation of rape, and I got separated from people, and then did find my parents at the end of the day. And I was very ashamed. I remember we were on like a group bus and having to walk onto the bus at the end and feeling like everyone knew, everyone could tell what had happened to me. And then not wanting to tell, but also telling my mom. And I think that act also saved my life in so many ways. But because I told, I remember I was like, but don't tell anybody. And then she told my stepdad, and I remember he was angry. And that was really healing for me. Like, he wasn't angry at me, he was angry for me.
Mm.
And having someone defend me in that way was one of the powerful moments. But then when we went to the hospital, and they do a rape kit, and it's awful. And as we were walking out, I remember seeing a group of the people we were with, and as we walked by the room, they were all in sort of in a circle with their heads down. And I thought, I was so ashamed. I was so embarrassed. I'm like, they can't even look at me. They're so disgusted. That moment was really pivotal for me.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, I'm going to fast forward just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
As I came through that experience and did deeper healing in my adult life, I remembered that moment of walking by the door where I thought they were so ashamed of me. And I realized they were in a circle with their heads down praying for me. They were praying for me. And that reframed that moment. So even in one of the worst experiences, these moments of grace, of healing, of love, the power in me having told my story and gotten help, they're so powerful. So that is definitely a moment. And I know that's external, feeling shame from someone else. But that is definitely a moment that it was transformed.
Wow. The fact that you were able to reflect on it and see see things in a new way, often, or looking back from the future into the past and experience, the rage of your stepfather was protectiveness and like a desire to change your being taken advantage of. And then these individuals, these peers of sorts, or upper peers since they were older than you, but then to also at the time to see it one way, like judgment, and then to be able to look back on it and see that they were hurting with you.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh.
So
This is
I'm
not,
sorry.
this is not the first or last interview I will cry during.
Well,
Go
I
back
know
to
I
season.
started off with a serious story, and I'm trying to give people a minute to digest it, so I'm being quiet. But really, that is always there, a different perspective. And it doesn't mean that we don't hurt and that we aren't injured. But as we come through our injuries, as we come through and heal, it opens the door to seeing something we couldn't see before. And so anyone that's afraid to heal, because we get afraid to go there, we get afraid to feel what's uncomfortable. There's a reason we didn't feel it at the time. There's a reason we don't want to go there. And yet, the life that we crave is on the other side of that. And we don't get to avoid it. No one gets through without it, if you will. Like it's easy to look at other people's lives and think, oh, they're so easy, or that looks so fulfilled and wonderful. And yes, from the outside, but we all go through life. From the most successful people that, you think, like, this actor has all this money and they have an easy life, but they still have things. Life happens. And so as we go through it, if we can look for what's on the other side of that.
I just shared a quote the other day, and I don't know who it's from, but it was along the lines of healing. Just because you move Just because you address I'm sorry, let me start over. It was healing. Healing doesn't mean that the hurt never took place. It just means that the hurt doesn't control you any longer.
Yeah. Well, when you feel things, you can release things.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems the opposite. It seems if we feel that pain, we might die. I mean, it really can feel like that.
Yeah.
And yet, if we can feel it and we can go at our own pace and we can go little by little, we
Mm-hmm.
release it and then we're free to come back into the present moment.
Hmm. Do you believe that it's possible to jump straight into joy, freedom, courage, playfulness if we haven't unpacked our shame stories?
Mm. Yes, because look at children. I mean, there's children in really difficult situations and they still have their joy
Mm.
and their moments. You know, that's just another layer we put on the shame. Well, I'm ashamed of that, or I'm guilty. You know, again, that was an external story of shame. I can tell you as a mother, there were times in the way I interacted with my children, I was deeply ashamed of how, oh my God, I yelled at them, or I was rough with them, or where did that come from? You know, and there are moments where we let that steal our joy. We stay stuck in those moments because and sometimes we just don't know how to process them. We don't know what that means, right? For the mothers out there, I remember being in a play group when my children were little and having, we had very young children. We were very sleep deprived, and we had like a discussion about how the cauldron of motherhood and the way it has the opportunity to refine you, but you're looking at some of your roughest edges during the process, if you will. I mean, some people were born to it and skate through it, but I think I was born to be a mother, but I also had a lot of rough edges that my children were honing, and bless their souls for sticking with me through those rough edges and difficult days and years. So we can let it sidetrack us and define us as we discover things about ourselves. Oh, when I didn't sleep for a week and then I screamed and I was horrible. Okay, didn't know that side of myself. But what if we can love all the sides of ourselves? And that's what helps us come into more balance and centered and grounded way of being. Because life, I want to say it's an easy switch. Life is about that. Life is about learning about ourselves. And sometimes we like what we see and sometimes we don't like what we see, but always we have a choice. So don't forget, if you present something you don't like about yourself or don't like how you showed up, you get a do-over. You can do it again the next time. As long as you're still breathing, you still have a choice about how you want to show up.
Yeah, all this about parenthood is really landing. I feel like there's been nothing better than having my kids to steer me back onto a self-reflective path. Truly.
Yeah, they definitely make you look at yourself. And sometimes we make them look at themselves. That's a lot
Well,
of attitude.
yes, yeah, it is a give and take, or a, back and forth for that. So what steps have you taken, or what might you recommend for someone who is seeking to shift their misbeliefs, or when they're listening to the critical voice in their head, what might be some opportunities that they could tap into to grow and to address those misbeliefs?
Yeah. Well, one is just recognizing that maybe it's a misbelief.
Mm.
Because when we're really believing those things about ourselves, we really believe them. we don't really see that there's another option. Like, ooh, that I didn't like that, or that was a horrible experience. I feel ashamed of that. I don't want people to know that. If we can just for a minute consider the possibility that how we see ourselves isn't the full picture. And maybe there's more. And maybe the things that feel the worst that we believe about ourselves aren't the truth. They might be true in the moment, or they might have been true for a second. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Like, yes, I screamed at my kids. Mm-hmm. That was true, but it's not the truth of who I am. And so we tend to look at the hardest moments and not celebrate the good moments. Right. So first, considering that it might just be a belief, and a belief can be changed. Mm-hmm. And then seeking the truth, the ultimate truth. And depending on how you believe, if you believe you're connected to a divine source that loves you, then there's love somewhere in there for you, in that truth, the ultimate truth. And so I want to hold that out for you, because I can remember times where I felt so hopeless, really hopeless and isolated. And if you're feeling that, that love is there for you. It is waiting for you. It has love to pour on you. So don't forget to connect there and believe it, baby. Believe it. And start to let it come into the cracks where it can. Because I know it can be a really tough situation. And then consider what you're thinking may be a belief, and what else do you know to be true about you? Because there's not just one thing. What are the things that you can start to celebrate? What are the things you want to amplify? Where our attention goes, energy flows, right? Yeah. So maybe I screamed at my children once in a day, and that would be my focus. My mind just couldn't let that go, but everything else was good. Now, that doesn't mean I didn't want to change it. And I have taken responsibility and done the work to change my behavior and self. And I'm still human. And sometimes I still raise my voice. Mm-hmm. And what if we can focus on and celebrate what we're not ashamed of and let that grow, so that then we have the wherewithal to start to be able to nudge into those areas that don't feel so good. Even if we just go for a minute. Oh, that didn't feel good. I'm going to feel it. I'm going to say I'm sorry. And then I'm going to come out of it. And then one day you're going to nudge into it, and there's no more charge. You don't have to do it all at once. You don't have to do it alone. Get support. But you get to do it so that you can be free, and you can claim your life and create it in who you want to be and how you want to show up, and how you're designed to show up, because we don't do it by ourselves. I really think we do it with our soul and with our divine connection with our God, because that's who created us. And I know that's a belief, and you take what fits and take what doesn't for you. But I really think that we're made of this soul stuff.
Yeah. Since we were talking about steps that could work for us, is there a guidance or an experience that you could move our audience members through, where they could do some self-exploration or some visualization?
Sure. Actually, I was thinking about all of you this week, and in sort of my quiet time or meditative time, I was doing some breathing, and this breath came to me, and it just seemed like it was for all of you. And so I'm listening and sharing it. So there's a type of breathing called central channel breathing. It's in yogic traditions, Qigong, where you breathe through your body, sort of head to toe along what they call a central channel. So maybe what you would think of as your spine, but in the center of your body. And so I was thinking of almost like a light bulb. I want to say fluorescent, or maybe it's old school. Like, you know, they used to have those bulbs in a television that were sort of like a vertical oblong, longer than an egg, but an oblong shape. I should have drawn a picture of it for you. But if you think of that oblong shape, and it just being a tube of glass, and it could fill up with light. And when the light fills it up, it would go in every direction. That's kind of what I was visualizing for you. So I'm going to invite you, if you want to experience this with me, we'll just do a couple breaths along the central channel, and then we're going to fill this light. And it's a lot of the things that I've been listening to and learning in the last couple of years, especially through this time of a pandemic and global shifts and changes. I was listening to someone named Andrew Harvey that talked about an engoldenment process of breathing in the golden light. And that's one of the ways to support ourselves. So that I'm bringing in a piece of that too with this. Okay, so you ready?
Yes.
So I'm going to invite you in this moment to just meet yourself with love. And we're just going to take a breath in from our feet on the ground, if we're sitting or standing, breathing in from our feet up into our body, into our bellies, and then breathing it out. Let it keep going through our body and out the top of our head. And then we're going to breathe in from the top of our head, down through our body, into our belly, and out our legs and our feet into the ground. Almost imagining that you have roots going into the ground. Now we're going to breathe up those roots, breathing in and receiving nourishment up into our belly, and then breathing out through our body and out through the top of our head, giving that beautiful nourishment that we received up. And then we're receiving from above down into our body, beautiful light, and then releasing it down through our legs with our exhale, down our roots, back into the earth, along with anything we don't need. We don't have to know what it is, but we're giving it back to the earth that knows how to compost it and receive it. So I'm going to let you continue for a minute as I speak to you. Feel as you are breathing, you are getting into your body. You are coming home. You were breathing along the center of you. And that's part of being centered, is being in the center of ourselves. So we're going to take one more breath up from below into our belly, and then out through the top of us and out through the top of our head. And then down from the top of our head into our belly and out through our legs and feet and down those roots. Now I want you to imagine we're going to connect with ourselves. This is a space and a time just for you. This beautiful thin glass tube within your body, from sort of your pelvic floor up to the top of your head, this tube that runs along the center. And as you breathe in, I want you to fill it with a golden light. Let it fill you and nourish you. And then as you breathe out, let it go out in every direction, filling your whole body with this golden light and even beyond your body. Breathing in and letting that tube receive this golden light, letting it nourish you. And breathing out, letting it go out in every direction. We're going to do 5 more breaths, breathing in that golden light, breathing it out in every direction, filling your body. Breathing in, filling that central tube with golden light. Breathing out in every direction. Breathing in, receiving that golden light. Breathing out in every direction, letting it soothe every cell, letting it bring you into this moment. Breathing in that golden light, breathing it out in every direction. Last breath, receiving that golden light along the center of you. Breathing it out through your body that receives it, and then beyond you, so that all around you is receiving that light. And notice how you feel now. If there's a peace there, if there is a stillness, if there is light, remember the feel. You can always return here to this place of peace within you, to be nourished, to share the light. It's already here. Remember. And when you're ready, come back and open your eyes and join us. Thank you for letting me do that with you all. It was for you. It was, you were prayed about and thought about, and this was new for me to share with, it was new for me, and I got to share it with you. And so I hope you receive it with joy and peace.
Now I want to go take a nap. I feel very calm and a little bit spacey. Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. So if you're feeling a little spacey, just feel your feet on the floor, kind of let your roots go down into the earth, just to get yourself grounded, because sometimes we do that and we connect within, we connect to all that is, and we can connect to the earth literally, to help us be anchored here. As we find that center within ourselves, we also find that we are in the center between heaven and earth. And sometimes we get kind of light, top heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So bringing yourself back down into your feet.
Grounding. Thank you for that.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. It's a joy for me to be here with you all today, and to really say to you, you know, my trademark saying is, when you manage yourself, you manage your life. And I think especially as women, we are the managers, right? The managers of our families, our lives, our careers, our thoughts, everything. And we get in this role of managing it all out there. And we're trying so hard to put the pieces of the puzzle together. Have you ever been trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together? I have. And thinking, when I get all the pieces together, then I can relax. Then I can sit down. Then I can have a rest. And then you get to the end of the day and you haven't gotten that rest. Yeah. So what if we manage ourselves and let life, when we manage ourselves, we manage our life, it falls together because we're taking care of ourselves. So when you need to rest, rest. You might not get a day in bed with Netflix, but You can sit down for 5 minutes, or you can close your eyes for 3 minutes and breathe the way we just did. Build self-care into your daily life, moment by moment. When you're thinking a shameful or hateful thought toward yourself, notice, question, is this the thought I want to carry? I've heard it 1,000 times. I believe it. But what if it's not the ultimate truth? What if there's more to me? And what if that was in the past and I can let that go? What would feel good to believe about myself right now? I am capable. I can do this. What's the one step I can take toward what I desire? So I invite you into connection with yourself, because I believe to my core, you are beautiful. You are capable. You are here for a reason. And your beauty gets to shine. It gets to be here, not buried under a list of what you need to get done or to-dos or responsibilities. But in connecting to yourself, you start to connect to your light and you start to shine it in all that you do. So I am grateful for each of you, and whatever shame story you have, it changes today.
That's so true. I wrote down what would feel good to believe about myself right now, or what would feel good to think about myself or feel about myself right now. I like that because it really is, it's so interesting. So much of it is choice. You know, it feels like you were saying earlier, things feel like the ultimate truth. And yet how we think about ourselves really, it really is a choice. It's just that it's going to take some practice and some intention to move back to what is possible versus what you might feel victim to, or what, you know, might have transpired in your past. Like it's really landing, especially as a parent of young ones. I have twins that are turning 8 soon.
Wow.
Yes. Handful number 1 and number 2. And
Yeah.
so it's interesting. So yeah, that truth about how you behaved in one moment and how you showed up in one moment, like how are you carrying yourself? Is that the ultimate truth about you forever?
Yeah.
And so I think that if there are parents listening, or you know, even with us, with our friends or our spouses, but mostly in conversation with ourselves, you know, that moment of truth from the past, is that really the ultimate truth that I want to carry forward about myself, or towards others?
Yeah. And could I share one more story about, because sometimes it feels like a lot of heavy work in our head, like, oh, I have to catch that thought and then I got to think a new one and I got to reinvent. And you can also just do it in the moment of day-to-day life. So I remember a moment, my children were like 2 and 4, 2.5, 4.5, 2, 4.5. And it was like a Friday night. I was tired, so I went to pick up dinner. I was all excited, like I was going to order food, and we went to pick it up, and we were going to take it home. And I live in Arizona, and the sun is really bright here. And I remember I was carrying the food for our family, and I had my 2 kids on either side that were little, and they're jumping up and down, bouncing and happy. And the sun was sort of blinding in my eyes. I was about to step off the curb into this busy parking lot. And there's all these cars, and it's around 5 p.m. So it's a lot. And I was starting to get irritated. Like, oh, why am I feeling anxious and irritated? And normally I would judge myself for that. What's wrong with you? Why can't you be peaceful? Blah, blah, blah. And this time I just noticed, oh, I feel anxious and irritated. Interesting. What's wrong? Oh my God, my kids and I are about to step out into this parking lot. My hands are full with this, and I'm terrified for my sweet, precious children in this parking lot. And when I could not judge myself, but notice, hey, there's a reason for this, and learn from it. And then I said to my kids, hey guys, put your hands in mom's pocket. So they were on either side of me. They each put a hand in my pocket. I could feel them because I was a little blinded by the sun, so I couldn't really see very well. I could feel exactly where they were, and my whole system calmed down. So what if I'm not anxious because I'm bad, or irritated because I'm a bad person, but it's there to show me something? And when I listen without judging it, I can find out what the problem is. And then I was so peaceful walking across that parking lot.
That's amazing self-awareness when you've got all the things happening at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. So if we just we meet our children with love, meet ourselves with love.
Mm.
As mamas, we know how to do it. We just got to do it for ourselves too.
Yes, yes. I was at a retreat last weekend, and one of the dominant themes that came forward in the attendees was it's so easy to just keep giving it out. It's easy to just keep serving everyone else. Like you were saying, women can tend to be the managers, so we've got all the things. We can just be very service oriented outward. And then when it's time, when there is an opportunity to self-soothe or self-care or be compassionate with our thoughts or our mind or our body or spirituality, it's interesting how it's like, oh, well, I guess I'll just go get back to my to-do list. I'll go do more stuff.
Yeah, or we start to feel a little bit of resentment for who we're taking care of. Have you ever been there? Sometimes I think we have such giving hearts. They're beautiful until they're not, till they're drained. And then you start to resent what you're doing, or you start to be in a position of hoping someone will notice and take care of you. Well, you can do that. You can do that too.
Mm-hmm.
And so as we stop and notice and take care of ourselves, others also do it. And that's why in that breath work that I did, I don't know if you noticed, but I had us receive the breath and then give it.
Mm-hmm.
Receive it and then give it. Because sometimes we're used to giving first and then receiving. Practice receiving and then offering, receiving and then offering, and then you give from a full well, a nourished place.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I'm just so grateful for your time and all of your wisdom and generosity. I also understand that in your generous heart, you have an item or a gift that I feel like you've already given so much. We got to do that amazing breath work. Is there a gift or a link that you have for our audience members? Okay, I
Yeah,
see it.
I dropped it in the chat.
Awesome.
It's a link to a gift I have called Set Up for Success, to set you up for success in your life now. And so it's 14 short videos that I made of different concepts to set you up for success for a fulfilling life now. It's been a hard couple of years. The world is in transition, and it's been difficult to say the least. And as I talk to people, not only are all these global things happening, but people are going through major individual shakeups and change and transitions. And so I thought, what would support people for success now? And what does success mean? To me, it's a fulfilling life. It's being connected to yourself and your soul, getting to give as generously as you want to give from a resourced place, not from a drained place or an obligatory place. Because I think that helps transform the world when we're giving from a full cup, when we're giving from our light. So they're just short videos that I hope you'll enjoy on things like gratitude and choice and power words to bring into your life. And time, hopefully with me, with the videos. And if you want to contact me or you're interested in learning more about what I do or how I could support you, my email is kate@mysanctuarysource.com, Kate, Kate, at MYSANCTUARYSOURCE.com.
Awesome. Thank you for letting us know how we get a hold of you. And for everyone watching, the free gift link will either be on this page with this video, or we will be getting that to you soon in your email inbox. And to offer more to you, the viewer, in gratitude of you being here, keep an eye on your email and make sure to join the Awake free community. We will be posting upcoming workshops that will support you in stepping up into your success, into your confidence. That'll be hosted by me, that'll be hosted by some of the leaders that you've experienced. But it's really about, building community and knowing that you are supported. We are all supported. We get to explore our up leveling together. So thank you, Kate, so much for your time. Kate Furnish.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. Thank you for your beautiful community. I can feel you all. And yes, we're in it together, and let's move forward and create something really beautiful in our hearts, our lives, and our world.
Thank you. We'll see everyone next time.
Bye.